Okay, this is direct and inverse variation. Okay, you had direct variation when you did Algebra 2, or you should have had it last year. Okay, it was in chapter, I think chapter 2 was direct variation. Scratch this one out. This doesn't help you as much. What you want to think about when you think about a direct variation is this basic equation, y equals kx. All right? K is a constant. It's like the slope. It's what keeps that relationship the same between 2 points. Okay? So, when you think of direct variation, you want to think of multiplication. That's what you want to think about. Multiplication between the constant and your variable. So suppose y varies directly as x. Stop reading right there and set up your very basic equation. If y varies directly as x, that means y is equal to k times x. Because you got to have that constant. Okay? All right. Now, then continue reading. And y is 45 when x is 2.5. This information here allows you to figure out what k is. If y is 45 and x is 2.5, we can figure out k by solving our equation. How would we solve for k? All right, so k then is equal to, what is 45 divided by 2.5? 18. All right. Yeah, I told you you'd like this one. All right. So then what we really have is y is equal to 18x. That becomes our basic equation. Now we know what our constant is. Okay. So use the equation. There's my equation. To find the value of y when x is 4. So it's a plug and chug at some point. You guys like this one? It is. This is easy. I mean, I'm not going to make it that much harder. So what does y equal? 72. Okay, are you crying because you're so happy that it's so easy? Okay.
Just waiting for the plot twist.
The other shoe to fall, is that what you're saying? Nah, it won't get too much harder. But you do have to read. You have to read and really make sure that you're understanding the way it's varying. Y varies directly as the square of x. Do some underlining, do some highlighting. Every word is important. That means y is equal to what? K, no, x squared. If I wanted square root, I would have said square root, but I said the square. And so that's where you're going to have problems in this, okay? You're going to put square root when it says square, or if I say square root, you're not going to read the root part, and you're just going to put the square. So read it carefully. Y is 30, x is 4. Y is 30, x is 4, which when you square it is 16, correct? So k is equal to 30 over 16, which reduces down to what? No rounding. Keep it 1.875. What's my basic equation then? Y equals what? X squared. That's my basic equation. The only reason I got 1.875 was because I squared my x. Okay? Find x when y is 270. If y is 270, 1.875 x squared is what I have left. So I divide by 1.875, and what does x squared equal? Now I'm going to ask you very carefully to think about this, because here's another place where you'll make a mistake. This is an equation. What is x? Plus and minus 12. In an equation, you have a positive and a negative when you take the square root. Again, another place where you will make a mistake, because you'll want to automatically give me positive 12, but it's both a positive and a negative. Okay? skip this one. Not a good question.
And it's when there's all even roots, right?
Even roots are plus and minus. Odd roots are just positive or negative, yes. Okay. Here. No, well, not that one. I didn't like that one. Okay. If y varies directly as the what? Cube. What does cube mean? To the third power. So that means y is equal to kx cubed. Y is negative 6.75 when x is 3. So negative 67.5 is equal to k times 3 to the third. So divide both sides by 27. And what does k equal? So that means y is equal to negative 2.5 x cubed. Don't be lazy, guys, and not write that equation after you found your constant. I give you points along the way. I give you points for setting it upright. I give you points for giving the constant. I give you points for writing your basic equation, and then I give you points for solving the final part of the problem. Okay? All right. Find x when y is negative 540. So negative 540 is equal to negative 2.5 x cubed. What's x cubed equal to? And on your calculator, what do you get when you take the cubic root of 216? Positive and negative 6, or just positive 6, or is it negative 6? Just 6. It's an odd root. It's either positive or negative. Good? You like this? All right, scratch this one out. I'm not going to use that. Okay, inversely proportional, you want to think of dividing by your variable. So directly means you are what? Multiplying. Inversely means I am dividing. And so our basic equation is this. Y equals k times 1 over x, or y equals k over x. Constant is always in the numerator or being multiplied out front. Your constant is not in the denominator. So, if y varies inversely with x, y equals k over x. Y is 14 when x is 3. How do I solve for my constant? Multiply both sides by 3, right? So that means 42 is equal to k, which tells me y is equal to 42 over, that's my basic equation, because we're solving for the constant. That's what we're finding. Find x when y is 30. So 30 is equal to 42 over x. How do I solve? So that means 30x equals, and x is equal to 42 over 30, which is what? 1.4. So far, so good? Any questions? All right, so then we have joint. Joint, if you see the word joint, it occurs when a quantity varies directly. So joint means it's the product of two or more quantities. So when right now, I just have x on the same side as my constant, right? If I do jointly, then I have more than one thing, more than one variable on the same side as your constant. But I'm multiplying them together, okay? So for example, in physics, the work done in charging a capacitor varies jointly with the charge and the voltage. So work equals constant, and it's jointly. It's jointly with the charge, Q, and the voltage, V.
Is it like they're in parentheses because they don't?
Well, you're multiplying, so you can if you'd like, but you don't have to.
How do you know though that
So find the equation of the joint variation of a capacitor with a charge. Well, where's your charge? Which one is charge? Q, 0.004, and a voltage of 100. Where does that go? Obviously, I don't have my constant. And a workload of 0.2 joules. So my K is going to be the 0.2 divided by 0.004 and 100. So my constant is 0.5. But then remember, go back to what the question is asking. What's the question asking? Find the equation of the joint variation. So what would my equation be? All right. Are we good? Okay. I'm going to let you try these in a second, but I want to go down to the last one and do that one with you. All right. Notice I've got a bunch of words going on, so you've got to kind of filter all this stuff through. It varies jointly as x and z, and inversely as the square of w. Jointly tells me what operation. Inversely tells me what? So it's 1 over, in this case, w squared, isn't it? Because it's the square of w, right? So let's put this together. Y equals k times x times z times 1 over w squared, right? They all go together. I have a constant written once on the right side, and I have to manipulate and write down those variables to show jointly for this and inversely for that.
So the K in front would go to that jointly and the inversely.
The K, you're multiplying. You're not distributing. There is no adding or subtracting going on. It is K times this times this times this. All right, so don't distribute. So let's plug it in. Y is 3. I don't know my constant. X is 3. Z is 10. And W is 1 over 2 squared, which is 4. That's the last part. That's separate, right? So 3 is equal to K times 30 basically over 4. Wouldn't you agree? 3 times 10, and then the 2 squared is in the denominator, right? All right, which is multiplied then by 4/30ths to get to K. And K is going to equal 2/5 or 0.4. Do the math. Work it out. You can believe me, but you need to know how to plug it into your calculator to do this. Okay. So then we start with our equation. Y equals 0.4 xz over w squared. I can go times 1 over w squared, or I can just put it all over w squared, right? So that means 0.4 times x, which is 4, times z, which is 20, divided by 4 squared, or 16. And so what does y equal? All of that is 2. Okay? All right, try the first 3 on your own. Oh, it goes negative and then it drops down to the bottom. What is it, -8 or something? Oh, the hole punch. Got it. Gotcha. Got it. No notes. 2 is directly, y varies directly as the square of x. Okay. So x is 9, negative 54. Yep. And you don't want to round it. My guess is it's not 0.66. It's 0.66666, isn't it? And so you want to think of that as negative 2/3. If you're going to round it, then you'll get it wrong. Okay? Let your calculator do it. All right. Go for it, Rachel. Go for it. Helene, you got to go to do the last one.
Okay, that's cool. I'll do it.
And so this is an example of, don't give me 0.66 for K, because that's a rounded answer. You've got to keep and work with these exactly. Yeah, that's right. There you go. All right, Helene, you're up. Did you get negative 2/3?
Oh, I squared.
So you got to remember, right? All right, do the last one. Cursor it down so that you've got, yeah, scroll it down. And you're working up a little bit more. Okay. No? Okay. And so you can just give me the final answer at that point. 1/2 times negative 8 times negative 27. I think that's right. Did y'all get 108? Should be positive. Yep. You're good. All right, how do we do? Does this make sense? Anybody got a question?